Good morning and good evening to those of us who are in the West. And thank you for being here with us. Your presence means more than you know. Today we are honored to share, if not us, then who, Perfectly Imperfect, the Janet Lee story. It's a tribute to a young woman whose courage and creativity and humanity continue to inspire. Janet's journey reminds us that imperfection is not a flaw, but a powerful truth, one that invites connection and compassion. Before we begin the screening, I want to give you a sense of how our time together will unfold. We'll start by hearing from Dr. Julie Thompson Dobkin, president of Hidden Truths Project, who will speak about art as a narrative, how creativity becomes the vessel for truth-telling, healing, and advocacy. From there, we'll hear from Janet's mother, Joyce Moi, and the filmmaker, Sanadtkumar. They'll share their reflections on the making of the documentary and the heart behind the story, which will lead us into the screening itself. Following the film, we invite you to stay for the Q&A session, where we'll continue the conversation together, exploring the themes and the process and the impact of Janet's legacy. So thank you again for joining us for the showing and for showing up for this community and helping ensure that the stories like Janet's are not only told, but truly seen. Dr. Julie?
Okay. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for setting aside the time today to join us for Perfectly Imperfect. For those of you who aren't familiar with Hidden Truths Project, our work is dedicated to engaging and empowering individuals that have been impacted by visible and invisible disabilities through the arts. And our focus has been predominantly in epilepsy. The film, as Heidi has talked about, Perfectly Imperfect, is about Janet Lee, who developed epilepsy at a very young age, facing cognitive challenges and intractable seizures throughout her young life. And her mom has described Janet that her disability was never viewed as a limitation. Instead, she embraced her individuality and saying, as Heidi has reflected, and it was in the film, being normal is boring, and proudly described herself as being perfectly imperfect. Janet was identified as a neurodiverse, neuroatypical individual by her mom, which has shared this with me. And I think for those of you that maybe don't have a concept of what that actually means, it can be thought about the diversity in our human brains associated with the infinite way and variation in neurocognitive function within our species. And basically, it's the bottom line is it's thought of as having a brain that functions differently from what people have referred to as societal norms. The interesting fact is, though, over 15 to 20% of the world's population is neurodivergent, and 1 in 5 people identify as having one or more neurodivergent traits. I think what's important to realize is that the basic idea is that there's not one correct way for the brain to function. Instead, we all process the world differently. We perceive and respond differently. And that can be because we have different brains, minds, modes of communication, and behavior. We should be supporting the mindset that the differences should not be considered as deficits, nor should acceptance be contingent upon one's ability to contribute to society, but we should embrace these and encourage them. And I think that this story will reflect that you'll see as you watch the film. And the interesting point is that neurodivergent individuals studies have revealed that they have hyperfocus on intent interests, they have heightened pattern recognition, they can identify tiny details and complex patterns, and they have this expansive imagination and curiosity. And these are traits that have typically been associated with creativity and insight. And Janet embodied these qualities. She brought joy, determination, and an extraordinary color to her work and her life. Janet first became involved with Hidden Truths Project at 1 in 26 The Art of Epilepsy exhibit at Dex Gallery in Costa Mesa, California in 2014. Then in 2015, traveling from Malaysia to California to attend the exhibit at Gray Matter Museum of Art. Her art now is displayed on the walls of many American individuals and across the world. And when I've discussed this with Joyce, her mom, she has said that that experience in 2015 was transformative in Janet's life. She said it helped to restore her self-esteem, affirmed she was valued, accepted, and celebrated for her contributions into the world. Unfortunately, Janet lost her life in 2023. And so now I'd like to introduce Joyce Moi, Janet's mom, who is, I'm sorry, Janet's mom, who is a mentor to parents of neurodiverse artists, and she's opened up a gallery to create a thriving space for these individuals. And Sanadtkumar, an international award-winning documentary filmmaker, co-founder of Ascendance, alumni of the Toronto Film School in 2023, and recipient of the Diana Award for Social Change and Humanitarian Action. Joyce?
Thank you, Dr. Julie, and hello, everyone. I'm very grateful for everyone's attendance, and also for Hidden Truths Project, headed by Dr. Julie and supported by Heidi, to do this live screening of Janet's documentary. As Dr. Julie have explained the life of Janet, Janet had two challenges. So she had intractable epilepsy, which was something that we could not control medically, and we could not predict when she would have another fall. On top of that, she also had learning challenges. And because of her medical condition, she was completely illiterate until she was 16 years old, where we had a belief in someone who said they understood and think what they knew was wrong with Janet. And that year was like spark. She started reading and writing. May not be up to speed with everybody, but it started her life in a different way. It gave her more things that she could dream about. The reason I made this documentary, besides remembering Janet, was really to share the journey that she has had and the support that she has had throughout her journey. As a mom, I'm very grateful to have a daughter like Janet because she changed my perspective about parenting. She changed my perspective about every child being different. And more important of not is I began to listen, I began to observe what she was doing. And the power that she had is keeping on track, doing what she wanted, which is playing with colors, gave me a signal that I should do something when I was totally naive about art. Okay, I'm today still not an artist. I still don't understand art as a creative person or an artist would, but she taught me a lot of things that I would not have otherwise known. Beyond that, she subtly, through her words, started sharing and allowing me to see that she was just like one of us. She wanted a lot of things, but she was not able to do it. And empowerment is what we need to give her. So through the documentary, I truly hope that we will see beyond the person's condition, be it whether it's epilepsy, it's ADHD or whatever, and try to read the in-between lines and seek help as a community to do crazy things. I did a lot of crazy things, okay? Some went through, some was just, okay, money blown away, but I pursued because I just heard her and I saw her that there was something that she wanted. And I hope that at the end of this film, it opens up a new thoughts for every one of you to share within yourself and with your family members or anybody whom you think the film would be useful for them. So that's it from me. And I'd like to pass it to Sanat, who probably would say why he wants himself to be involved in this documentary. Sanat, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joyce. And we'll get to the documentary screening shortly, but it's very nice to be here, and it's very nice to share this film with many people. And so I come from a background, my name is Sanad, I come from a background of youth empowerment. I've been a youth empowerment advocate for the last 10 years. I started this organization called Ascendance back home in Malaysia. And what we do is we provide platforms, resources, and guidance to young kids in schools who need an opportunity for them to show what they're made of, an opportunity for them to figure out their talents, and for them to go and pursue the life that they want to pursue. And I've been doing this as an organization for 10 years. But then when I heard of Janet's story and how Janet and Joyce and the support system that they've built is doing this, it's something that was very, very close to my heart. And I wanted to make sure that this story gets told. And when Miss Joyce approached me with this story, I told myself I'm gonna um, make this into something that will benefit a lot of parents, but more importantly, it benefits a lot of kids who have a certain neurodivergent ability, or they have certain talents that they have, but they don't know what exactly to do about it. To see that there is a possibility and there is a way for them to build a life out of this. And I think that's the most beautiful part about this story. So I think we're gonna head over and start sharing the film as well. It's about 40 minutes long, so bear with us, but it's gonna be a lot of fun and it's very exciting. And then once you're done with it as well, as you're watching it, if you have any questions or reflections, please do share it with us after this. Let's have a conversation about this. I think one of the things that Miss Joyce told me as well is the more we have these group screenings and the more we talk about it and we build conversation and we build community, that's how we're going to be addressing so many different types of issues that come with it as well. So I hope you enjoy the film, and I hope you can then go out there and share it with people, talk to us for more screenings and stuff like that as well. So yeah, shall we go ahead and do the film?
This moment today means a lot for me, and today I'm sharing a story in the book, not about myself, but it's about my daughter. Janet's life has actually been a life of challenges, but it is also a story of resilience, determination, and creativity.
She said to her mom, being normal is boring, that she is made perfectly imperfect.
So she was a very healthy baby, and she was also very bubbly, chubby as well. She was an exact opposite of what we had with Joanne. Joanne came out tiny. Okay, she was very petite, while when Janet was born, she grew well, so she was one of those that you could really pinch. You can't really pinch Joanne, but you could pinch her. So, those kind of cute babies, coupled with the fact that she's always laughing. She laughs at anything, she giggles at anything. So quite a joyful baby to have, and also a very healthy one. One night, when we were out for dinner, we came home, she was still fine, and then I went up to have my shower. And halfway through my shower, my husband knocked on the door and he said, what's wrong with baby? And when I opened the bathroom door, I saw her eyes roll up and she was kind of like jerking. And I said, I think she's having a seizure. And then he said, what's it? I said, I don't know, but I read in the book that this is what it is. So he said, then what should we do? I said, maybe we should just send him to a doctor. So we quickly got dressed and then we took her to the clinic. And the journey through the clinic, she was still having her seizure, but by the time we reached the clinic, I think she got out of it. So when the doctor looked at her, then the doctor said, oh, probably, with us describing the symptoms and all that, he said, yeah, I think she might have got a seizure or a fits. And they did some urine tests and all that, and then the doctor said, oh, I think, she wasn't actually well. Because the urine actually showed that she had some virus infection. So she was probably having a temperature, and then that's why she had a seizure. So I told the doctor, no, but she's perfectly fine. We will know, you can feel it, she wasn't having a temperature and she was still very well. Then he said, no, anyway, the urine test does show that she has a viral infection, so chances is it's there. So he said, so what some children have is when they have a fever, they do have fits, and as they grow older, they will get out of it. And the episode actually ended. It never happened again until Janet reached 1.5 years old. And that was the day when I was actually at work and my mum-in-law called. Okay, she was frantic and she said, I don't know what happened to the baby. And it was our fault because we didn't tell her what happened when she was away. So I rushed home and obviously I knew it was a seizure, then I had to explain to her, and we just didn't know what to do. So that time she has a pediatrician. So we took her back to the pediatrician in Pantai Hospital for her to look at it, and then as usual, she said she had a seizure, and they don't know what's the cause, but some children do have it and things like that. So it went on like that actually for quite a period of time, probably 6 months to a year, I don't know. But it was every time in and out of hospital until one day, the doctor came and we were in one of those usual visits in the hospital ward, and I was there with Janet, and then the doctor came and she said, you know what, I don't think her seizure is going to stop because we have tried to put her on medication and she still seems to have it. So it looks like maybe, she's one of those kids which you would actually classify as having epilepsy. Then she explained to me the difference for fits and epilepsy.
A lot of people don't know what is epilepsy. Epilepsy is basically when someone has a tendency to have a recurrent attack of seizures or fits. And a seizure happens when there is an abnormal electrical activities in the brain. Generalized epilepsy, the abnormal electrical discharges come from deep within the brain and involves the whole brain very quickly. And the most common that people are aware of is, when you go unconscious, you fall to the ground. I'm sure you've heard about this, where people have stiffening of their limbs, jerking, what we call generalized tonic-clonic seizures. They have uprolling of their eyeballs, jaw clenching, drooling of saliva. They sometimes bite their tongue. They sometimes wet themselves or soil themselves.
Every 1 week once, the problem will come back, and we led a life of fear. At that time, actually, I was still a grumpy mom. I couldn't understand why she had to behave the way she was, because she would be very emotional. Some days she's just ridiculously, throwing her tantrum and whatever. But I saw the happy girl in her. I saw the girl who is willing to learn things. So my mind also started for me to see her as who she was instead of who she is. Who she is a sick child, okay, giving you problem and falling anytime and all that. Janet wasn't that bad or difficult girl to handle despite her sickness. Very happy, just happy-go-lucky, and still very pretty, very cute, and it was like, it's a blessing. Everybody who sees her don't even know that she has epilepsy because she doesn't show herself as a sickly child. So my attitude actually started changing from there.
I was 7 years alone, and then I have a sister who was like, I was happy and stuff, but then suddenly it's like she's always away. So it kind of like made me feel a bit of frustration, anger, I don't know, like a lot of mixed emotions. But there was also a side of me that kind of pitied her because she had to go through this. I think when she was maybe about 5, it was a lot more frustrating for me because when I was a teen, when they're 5, they start to annoy you a lot more, right? So I was just really, really annoyed with her. Like, just cannot bear to be around her at that point. At the same time, she has the seizures, and then you go like, okay, so I should be nice, kind, because she's not well. But then another part, you're like, but she's so annoying, right? You just feel like you want to strangle her alive. I don't know what exactly to do with her or how to help her. But I know that she has a lot of love in her. She tries a lot. She tries to be as normal as possible. She likes to do things that we do. But when she started to grow older, she also realized she's different.
when we looked around for the kindergartens, the minute they knew she had epilepsy, it was almost like they never received the inquiry. So ultimately, we landed her in the kindergarten just opposite our house, so that anything happened, my mom-in-law can go and then just fetch her back. But it wasn't like the ideal kindergarten, but we lived with it. So when she went for Standard 1 and we went to my daughter's school, the school rejected her. The problems she had from Standard 1 to Standard 3 is she wasn't learning, but she also was sleeping in class. The doctor said it's due to the medication. She gets very tired and therefore she sleeps. But when she goes back home and we teach her, she still don't seem to be able to learn. She goes back, she doesn't understand, she doesn't follow the class. When we went to see the educational psychologist again, it was the same topic. You know, we spoke about my worries to the psychologist. Then the psychologist told me, you only have two choices. One is you just let her be there. It's a private school, so as long as you pay fees, people won't kick you out. Just let her be there and finish everything, okay, and accept it that she'll probably not learn much, or maybe as she grow older, she might pick up something, but this is her. Or another possibility is you just apply the OKU card and go for the special class in the government. And I had to take the painful decision to just take her over to OKU. She had 3 years there. And by the time she was ready to go to secondary, sadly that school didn't do secondary. So she was transferred to another school, and this was when her sad years came. The first year when she went to the school, she came back, she had slight bruises and pinches on her body. We asked her and then she said a friend pinched her. By the time she was in her second year, Form 2, it got quite bad. It became even like scratches. So that was a time when we withdrew her from the school.
Epilepsy is the most highly stigmatized chronic illnesses in the world. Having diagnosis of epilepsy itself already affects them mentally and psychologically. And it's not easy to communicate when you're not able to communicate fully.
Before I looked at anything else when she was younger, I noticed she liked coloring. So naturally to me is, maybe, art is something that she can work on. It was easily 3 to 4 teachers that I sent her at different periods of time. Each one would be like maybe a year or 6 months before they give up on her. Because after they send them for a while, then they will come back after 6 months or 1 year and they say, she is really not into art. So I went to Philip and I said, Philip, I spent 6 years thinking that, she will make it to an artist, but I'm seeing this thing now and I'm really worried that she's going the wrong journey. If it's wrong, I better change it while I'm around. So then he was quite assured. He said, okay, no mind, no worries, you leave her with me. I'm an artist. So for me, if someone paints something and I can appreciate, then it's art. If I also cannot appreciate, then the person is not an artist and I don't teach. It was 2 years that he spent time with Janet. The first year when he first started with Janet, I could see a different Janet. Her work was, to me, it was terrible. It was worse than what she did at home. Okay, it was just almost like giving grudges, splashing anything, no sequence, nothing. And it was like, oh my God, what's happening? But I suppose maybe it was her trying to throw out the anger and frustration she had, I don't know. But Philip was very patient. He tried giving her different technique, tried watching her work. At the end of 2 years, he came back and he said, okay, Joyce, I can tell you one thing. Janet is an artist, but she's not even an abstract artist. I said, huh? I said, your daughter is the minute she sees colors, she goes crazy. She's in a world of colors and the colors control her. So her subject matter is colors. And he says so, I will say she is a colorist. We got the invitation. That's when she sent in one painting. It was selected. And at that time, I told my husband it's the turning point. All of us were excited. So we went as a foursome to go to the exhibition.
She moved me on so many levels, and maybe we didn't necessarily articulate it verbally, but it was through just inflections, her art, her color, her textures, her brush strokes. That became Janet's story.
In the evening itself, they will have a cocktail and the paintings were all put up. And before they officially opened the exhibition, the painting was sold.
I think it was incredibly powerful. I almost see Janet through the art, smiling and being grateful.
Janet was so happy, she couldn't even eat dinner. And I was actually also very happy. All of us were very happy, we were shocked.
I think there was this sense of pride, wow, someone recognized me and actually thought that this was good enough to buy or wanted my artwork. And I think that's a sense of self-affirmation. I think that's a sense of helping her build a sense of control and agency and feeling like, yeah, my life is worth something, and if art can do that, that's what it's all about. You get power through art. So I think there was a great sense of pride and just helped her build her self-confidence.
I remember the very first time we met Carissa, she didn't want to go. She told my mom she's not even interested. Then I told her, fine, if you don't want to go, then I'll go with my mom and we'll make a new friend, right? You can just stay home. Or if you want to follow and you don't want to talk, you can just sit there. Yeah, so eventually she felt like she was left out. So she came and they became friends. So Carissa really also put in a lot of effort to make the conversation going.
I met Janet back in mid-2017 actually. Janet had so many things that she wanted to tell me. I think also because it was finally there's someone who wanted to talk to her and is willing to keep that conversation going. And then I didn't know how to say no. She wouldn't text me as much, but Sundays she will always text me a little more. And it will always be like, are we going to talk today? Are you free to talk? We're going to talk later. We're going to call each other at 10 p.m. And then, it would just go on for the entire day. And I knew that she was excited.
Whereas for me and her, it was, I tried to let her feel like she's normal. So certain things I'll just be like, go and do it yourself, right? Because she used to be very spoiled with my grandma. She will just sit in the hall and she'll shout for my grandma to bring her a cup of water, or she'll make the maid come down and bring her a cup of water, which eventually I told her, no, you're perfectly fine. So I was a bit more strict with her. Yeah, so to her it's like, I can be fun, but I'm strict. Yeah, which I think made her feel quite normal in that sense.
Funny enough, I realized that there were a lot of moments that she really treated me like a younger sister, in the sense we would say something funny, like a joke, and then she would shush me. Because it was her way of saying don't let the others know. Don't let the others know what we were talking about. And then we would laugh about it because she was such a big sister doing that.
She is really protective. As long as she knows you're younger, she's very protective.
There was this artwork, which is a painting of the Mandarin oranges, that it was one of the first painting or the first few paintings that Janet did. Then Joyce was saying that the artwork itself is not 100% perfect. There are some creases and it's not very perfect. There's some area where there's some folds and all that. And then she was asking if I'm okay with it. I told her that all these little creases really symbolizes the little difficulties and challenges that a person has to overcome, Janet has to overcome in order to produce her artwork. I think it gives us a lot of strength. Even if I walk past it sometime, I look at it, it looks it has a little aura of its own.
There were many paintings, but there was this one particular painting that stood out because there's a lot of details. It's very colorful, and I just love the colors. Janet is very special. There are a lot of things she may not be able to do, but there are a lot of things that she does that other people will not be able to do. So that gift, to be able to magnify that gift, to spread the word, and to give encouragement and inspiration to so many other families, I think no other words can describe how important their work is.
I bought more than one of her paintings. Of course, we built then a friendship. And not only I would visit her exhibitions, we have photos of me bringing my family also to visit. So that's the power that Jeanette, with her work, her art, her paintings, they got many people involved and interested in what she was able to do.
I was particularly fond of her paintings that reference nature. I used to have a lovely painting of hers, actually, of fish underwater and water lilies. I still keep the diaries that were printed with her paintings, and I still have the calendars that were printed with her paintings. So I have a way of looking back at them and seeing how she developed over the years. She was trying out new ways of expressing herself, new ways of experimenting with colour and with design. And I think that that's a real tribute to how she was supported by the family as well, that they gave her that strength and that resilience and that ambition to move her artwork on in different ways.
She said to her mom, being normal is boring, that she is made perfectly imperfect. And I think that that is such a great line. I mean, I think it just highlights that we all are unique human beings and we each have our fortes, and you know, what one person considers a deficit actually is not a deficit at all. It's what contributes the uniqueness of our voice to the world.
Her mindset of, I'm very bored, I have nothing to do, became less, because now she is occupied to some extent. But we could also see that she wanted to participate in a lot of decision making, but we didn't kind of acknowledge her comments. And maybe that was because she wasn't working, she didn't have an income, and that triggered a concern for me then is what life is she living? What is her purpose in life? I wanted her to be also seen and acknowledged by everyone around her that she is someone with an ability to do something. It may not be an income that can sustain her livelihood, but definitely it can be used for her in certain aspects. And she will find life fulfilling because she has autonomy over certain things. So this was when I started exploring art beyond the canvas, and I found it worked. Okay? She started seeing her art beyond the canvas items being sold. She can receive cash. You know, she see her beautiful paintings there, and it also became a way for me to encourage her to paint. Okay? And to let her realize that that's her job, because it was very easy. You see, you have this painting, it goes here. But if you stop painting, then after a while, people will just be bored with what you have because you got nothing new to show them. So there was also now a purpose why she should paint. Very simple mugs, simple t-shirts. Yeah, mainly that. I sometimes had an imagining thought in my mind that, hey, I think this one will make a very nice blouse. I started having even more crazy ideas like, okay, so we can see it on clothes now, we can see it on products. And one day I was dressing up the mannequin for one of her exhibitions, showing both her paintings and also her art beyond the canvas. And I realized my mannequin didn't have shoes. But that also triggered me and said, hey, how would her art look like on shoes? I also have a lovely gift bag as my gift partner. the Baby Seal collaboration that we had with this baby products company, but they took the design and specifically put it onto the packaging as well as onto a drinking bottle. That was my very first international collaboration. And our latest collaboration currently is with Signature Market. That one, they have actually chosen a design from Janet to use it for their 10th year gift anniversary.
And then I also told her once she started working, she needs to chip in for birthday dinners for my parents, or if she needs to buy presents, then we need to chip in, things like that. It cannot always just be me. And I told her, you actually do make more money than me, because your one painting is probably a week plus of my salary, right? So, and that time I wasn't earning super a lot. So I said, you should be paying most of it, not me, right? Yeah, so it made her feel quite proud. She's also making money. So sometimes she'll tell you it's okay, today I'll buy you lunch. Yeah, and she loves spending people food, buying things for people. She just loves it. So she'll every now and then say, I'll buy you something. We go out, I'll pay for lunch, I'll pay for movie, which is fine. I have to tell her, yeah, sure. But you need to let me order my full meal, right? Because she has a thing of, if you order now and you don't order your dessert yet, you cannot order your dessert anymore because she's not going to pay for it. Yeah, you can only order one time.
Funnily enough, right, I realized she's actually quite shy about her achievements and about what she's done and everything. Very often, again, I find out about all these things from her mom. So we'll be just having a conversation over lunch or something, and then her mom would tell me Janet, don't you want to tell something to Carissa? Or you recently went somewhere, right? Janet, where did you go? And then she will always have this really shy look. She's like, no, I don't want to tell you, and then to a point it became a game for us. It's like I had to guess, and I only got 3 chances to guess. So sometimes Auntie Joyce would have told me beforehand, oh, she recently went to Korea. So I had to is it Korea? Then she was like, maybe, kind of thing. And then then I have to ask did you win a competition? Then she's like, no, it's wrong, guess again, that kind of thing. So yeah, she was surprisingly very shy about telling me about all the really great stuff that she's done, the places she's exhibited, or even something as simple as someone having bought her artwork. But whenever I told her I really like your work, or it's so cool that you've gone here or you've done such, then you could see, inside she's quite chuffed about it. She's really happy that I've complimented her or said something nice about her work.
Janet had this aspiration that one day she can graduate. From the time she could start reading and writing, she was already thinking a lot, and she often come back and say, when can I graduate? And I think that's because her sister is a graduate, her cousins are graduates and things like that. So I found her a course and I made her go through it so that she really know what it takes to get a graduation.
Career Diploma in Small Business Management, Janet Lee.
And I think it was the experience, having seen her sister walk up the stage and get the scroll. I think that's the experience she wanted, plus throwing off her hat. So we fulfilled her wish. So the original plan of making this a gallery was a Janet ownership. It was for her to see her achievement come to life, her idea about having one place showing everything that she did coming true. The opening day of the gallery was you can see the sparkle in her eye. She feels proud. Perhaps she always felt that I'm actually good, it's just that you all don't see that I'm good, okay? In 2021, she was nominated for the Women Glamour Award. When she knew she was going for this, she already saw the trophy. And she kept asking me, when will I get that one? When will I get that one? And I had to tell her, no, that one is only one, okay? Only one person can get, not everybody. You remember during the interview, you can't even say your name. So you won't be able to get that, but they will give you that certificate. So the certificate is good already. It means that you still did it. So I had to set her expectation right. When we went there, the Young Inspiring Women Award, she was one of the awardees. They have actually got 3. So every category, they had 3 awardees, and she was one. She went up the stage, she collected it, she came down, and the first thing when she showed the trophy to her father, she said, "See, Daddy, Mommy said I cannot get this one. What does she think? I got it, right?" It was like, "What, you slap down?" So it's like she always have that confidence that she's capable of doing many things, and we are the ones who are undermining her ability. She didn't have to try and please people to be who people wanted her to be. Like when she painted a house, her house could still look like a house drawn by, let's say, a 4 or 5 year old, but that's her house, right? And what she wanted to put into the house was her own idea. And because you know she's the colorist and that's the way she expressed herself, you don't comment anymore, and she just feels, I'm myself. It's that fear of being criticized that has disappeared.
Sanya, you sit there. You look at the camera first. Say hi. My sister has always wanted to be an aunt, and she managed to spend a whole year with Mia, which you can see the love she has is amazing, right? No matter how much Mia annoys her, it's okay. You can see Mia like disturbing her painting, her color, and her color pencils are like her precious gems. It's fine. To her, it's fine, right? Everything is fine. So she spent a whole year being an aunt, a very good aunt, but an aunt that would definitely spoil her.
Throughout my 40 years experience, I got teach so many kids and all that, but Janet is someone is special, fresh in mind, whom I always relate. She listens a lot. She pays attention when people say, and she admires the sister very much. She said, my sister is there. Yes, we fight sometimes. I will be upset with her, but she said, she's a nice person. She's very caring and loving. That's why she ended up to have a beautiful family. She said that. I think Janet loved her mother very much. She started to see that what are the sacrifices she did. Then she said, my mother is the one that be with me all the time, no matter day or night. She's willing to travel with me all the time and make sure that I'm safe. And she loved the father also very much. Every time she will mention about the father, how the father take care of her, how the father being with her and all that, which make her very, very happy.
Morning when she woke up and she said, I don't feel good. And then I asked her, I said, is it that your tummy is really very painful? Then she said, yeah. And I think she also feared knowing anything worse out of it, because she still, despite the pain, she still refused to go to the doctor.
So the first time when I met Janet, she was not so keen to talk to me. I think the mom also mentioned that she needs time to build rapport. So during the first visit, she was not giving me any eye contact. She refused to be examined, doesn't want to talk. So mother was actually doing most of the talking and just explaining to me what's the situation Janet is going through. So Janet had stage 4 ovarian cancer, and she decided not for any intervention in the hospital. So there was no treatment done, no surgery, no oncological management. So she wanted, I think, just comfort care at home.
I think the conclusion was nobody could tell us that just doing a surgery and chemo was going to solve the problem. Everybody was giving us that idea that she was really very weak, and while the treatment will work, they doubt her body can take it. And that time she's a 160 cm girl, but 34 kg. So they said if ever they want to try anything, they also have to boost up her immune system first, and that would be the drip, which she has to take from the hospital. So when we went back and we told her, if she go to the hospital and she just take the drip, it will make her stronger and she might recover, she didn't. And she said no, she doesn't want to go to the hospital.
Janet was a very independent girl. She, even when she couldn't walk, she still wanted to walk to the toilet. When she was very alert, she was asking her mom, bring you to the toilet, and mother was finding it very difficult because she might put a lot of like we sort of call it like a dead weight on the person. But I think mom did her best. She tried to accommodate everything that Janet wants. So she's a very independent person. Did not get a chance to explore her understanding, her feelings. But according to mother feels that Janet was aware she does not have a long time.
The final decision we had to make, and which I told my husband and Joanne, was in our life, we kind of, even though we said in the later part we allowed her to make decisions, they were calculated decisions. The choice of A or B, we already preempt the outcome and it's safe either way. So it was always a decision which she made was initially already thought of by us. And this is her life. So to me, it was like, it is her life and she has the right to decide. So if she chooses not to go to the hospital, we have to respect that. And at least in her whole lifetime, she has one choice. 1 week before she was going to leave, she endlessly said how much she loved me. It's like, it's very difficult for her to say sorry. It's very difficult for her to say she loved me. And then sometimes even if you say, can you just say you love mommy, she won't say it. But 1 week before she passed away, she was saying it, and she even said it to her father, she said it to her sister. Her niece came, the sister carried the niece. We thought that was going to be the day. She said the same thing to the niece. And she only did these 4 simple sentences, like, I love you, I will always be with you, I will never leave you, we are a family.
I guess letting her know that I really enjoyed every moment that we had. Yeah, and I wish we had more time to do that as well. Because even now I still miss her. Sorry. And I think also I just want to know that as a friend, I'm so proud to see what she's accomplished even up to now, and to see her legacy become what it is now as well. Yeah, but I guess more importantly, really just how much I miss her, and how I really wish that we could go back to old times where we were just randomly chatting about just funny things together and all that. Yeah.
So last year, during her first anniversary after she passed, we launched the platform, right? Janet Lee's platform, to help others. And that's why we have those initial 4 of them. When they come and see the gallery to see what the other kids are doing, that's why we dedicated a room for the kids. It helped other parents to see, not only is Janet different, you have your kids. They're not a write-off case, right? You just need to give them a bit of support, give them a community, give them a platform. And we are never here to make money. We will never step out and just ask people for money, because that's not what Janet Lee is for.
I think when we have children who are not neurotypical, most of the time is the parents gets the credit. But in all honesty, I think the credit should be given back to the child, who is a gift of God. Why am I so adamant to continue the business and whatever? It's also because of the parting words. If those were her parting words, I just hold it that in spirit or in soul, she's still very much with us. And if she's with us, she will want to see her gallery carry on. And the day when the gallery cannot exist, it's probably she feels she has achieved what she wanted and ready to give it a closure. After she's no longer around in this one whole year, people still come and buy her paintings. People still do collaborations with her. People still want to write her story. People still want it to be in the press. And I think all this is maybe because she wanted to still stay around and light up the life of others. And I think if she thinks she has done enough, then no matter how much effort I put in, it'll probably no longer materialize the way I would like it to be. So the legacy is really to keep to her last 4 words that she told us. You know, that she will always be with us.
Should we open it up for questions?
Yeah.
Dr. Julie, do you want to start us out?
Sure. I mean, we have a great audience, and I thank you for all attending. And obviously, this is an incredibly powerful story. And I think there's a couple of points that I'd like to emphasize about it that I think we have to, as a society, have to stop thinking about, you know, whether it's a label of epilepsy or neurodivergency, but that we look at the person. And I think that we have to, I mean, to make this world, I mean, you think about the world and diversity in the world, and just think what our lives would be like without Janet or without Joyce or Sunat, who uses film to tell a story, or Joyce, who reaches out to the neurodiverse communities and epilepsy community. And I think art is a powerful tool, as Heidi alluded to earlier. Art really is a story, and art, I always say it's the inside out. And I think there are words and there are meaning that comes out of art. And Joyce, I think, you know, you're the teacher of Janet, the artist, who said, no, Janet is an artist. And I love the concept where he put color in front of her and it changed her life. And I think that's a really important point, because people can express emotions based on color. And maybe that was Janet's story. Maybe that was her inside out story to you and to the world, that she's happy inside. She's really grateful for everything in her life. And maybe that's her story. Her color is her story. But I'd like to open up the discussion, and Joyce and Sanat and the audience, just the message that you took away from this, and understanding humanity apart from a label that they might be assigned by a medical community, but seeing them as a person, and acknowledging that people's brains work differently, and how we can embrace that and empower those individuals to become part of society and acknowledge the beauty of our differences. So I'd like to open up the discussion to anybody in the audience, Joyce, Sanat.
Yeah, perhaps I would just take the lead first. I think the reason for me making this documentary and sharing it, it's really with intent to not just inspire us. The first thing first is this documentary was made not to garner likes or credits back to ourselves. That was not the intent. The intent of what I think Janet really wanted was to show that you may have something in you that people cannot see, but if you carry on being persistent enough, someone will see it. And all you need is just that one light and it will shine through. And the power of this documentary, I believe, as much as this is the epilepsy community that we have here, I think it applies to all of us. The message that was clearly in Janet's life is we can all have our downtimes. We can always feel we are unlucky. But if we stick to what we really want and we work hard towards it, we just need one person to believe us, and that could change our life. That will work in families who have special need children trying to tell us a message, and that will be the most difficult one because they cannot express themselves. But in today's world, people like us, some of us during the COVID lost our job, some of us are going through hard times, and it's always easy to put a blame or a reason. I'm not as lucky. I don't come from that family. We don't have the contacts. But that's not what we should be telling people. What we should be telling people is what Janet did is, I want to do this. I love colors. So from young, she never gave up colors. She just went on to that. We weren't smart enough to detect it early, but eventually, when she was in her 20s, I really wanted her to have a meaning in life. And I was saying, what can she do? With her unpredictable falls, she can't work. With her limited intelligence, it was difficult for her to be understood and be positioned for something in the public segment. But the thing she never gave up was colors, and that started me to start asking. So I think the intent of this documentary is to show us that every one of us have a skill. We shouldn't give up easily. We should stick on with it. And the purpose of doing a group screening is really with hope and intent that we talk about the issues. We talk about what we have done that gave us the breakthrough. That's what I would really like to have in a group screening. That's why outside of the documentary launch to the media in Malaysia, this is the only first screening that we have done, despite the fact that we have the video with us. Sanad and myself, we had a discussion and we said, if we just share it out on YouTube, which is what some people have asked us, why don't you just share the link? To me, it means nothing. When you share a link, you and I have existing problems. We look at it, we will end up and say, oh, she's got a great mom who supported her all the way. Or we may just end up and say, my child is different. They can't even do this, or they don't even have this talent. You may be inspired for that 1 day, 2 days, while it's fresh in your mind, but after a while, you just hold back to your own problems. When we have a community like today, I hope that people will just bring up the voice and say, I have this issue and you know how I go about it. This is what, and it might give someone else who's struggling through thinking an answer to say, hey, yeah, I never thought about this and I want to do it. So I really do hope that today's public screening internationally, I'm very thankful to everyone who have joined. Besides the US team, I've just looked at the name list. We have people signing in from Singapore, from Australia, and from Malaysia. Okay. And for Malaysia, it's the whole of Malaysia. We didn't just have people from KL, but we had people from East Malaysia as well. So I'm really thankful, and I do hope that the intent of my message goes out to the public, that as a community, we can learn and we can have access to so much more resources. That's my take. Sanat, do you have anything to add to it?
All right. I think Ms. Joyce, you covered it very, very nicely in your sharing as well. But one thing that I wanted to share, and one of the earliest discussions that we had with Ms. Joyce and me, is we didn't want this to be a film that spoke a lot about how Janet's family supported her entirely, but the credit has to go to the kid themselves, because a lot of times, like we always put the kid sort of at the backseat when it comes to handling issues like this. But I think giving them the right credit that is due, giving them the right platform that is due, that's what's going to make a big difference. I've seen this happen to a lot of kids that I work with, but when I heard the story of Janet and how she was brought up, and it is her learning and her discovery of who she is and what she's capable of, that is beautiful. That gives the kid the autonomy for them to go and create the life that they want to create. And I think that's very powerful, and that's what we wanted to convey with this film as well. So if it does resonate with you, if it's something that you are passionate about, say, sharing, I think it's talking to people about it, sharing the story out there, letting people who are going through things like this know, looking at communities who want to screen this film and want to talk about it. These are all initiatives that you can take, but it's not just in context of this film, but even in your personal life. I think for me personally, after working on this film, I've become much more empathetic towards people. I've started listening more carefully to people who are neurodivergent, listening to what they're actually going through. And if this film inspires you to do that and take a closer look, listen, understand, and respect these people, I think we've done what we wanted to do with the film as well.
I think you guys have both hit on some really important parts of the work that Hidden Truths Project does. So for example, now we've been doing this work for about 15 years. And we work with artists from all over the world, in Australia, throughout Asia and Europe and the Latin America. And it doesn't matter what country, what socioeconomic level you live at, what gender you are, the stories with the epilepsy community are one and the same. They just resonate. And art became that connector. Art became that bridge. Not only connect to the epilepsy community, to their peers, but to the public, because art allowed us to do public display of the work within a proper context to educate. So for us, art is education. It's empowerment of the individual. First, and it engages the public and it educates the public. And I've just seen the transformation across the nation and the world through connecting through art. And it is a story. It is its own universal language. And it's a visual language filled with depth and emotion. And the one thing that consistently also comes out with our artists from all over the world, and we work with about 1,000 different artists, is that art is the one thing that they can control. They can make the decision, they can make the color choice, they can make the medium choice, they can do it through music, writing, drawing a line. And art is their one thing that they can control. And that's the most powerful thing you can give an individual. So
I have one feedback here from Jack. She had to leave us, and she couldn't have the feedback shared with us in person because she has to leave for work. But she sent me a personal message, and I think she also put a message on the chat group. Her personal message to me was that we as her parents didn't give up. And I think this is the key message that I'd like everyone to hear. It's very often when we have hardships and we try and try, after a number of times, we tend to give up.
Okay.
With special needs children, we try to
I just
help.
have your-
Yeah, yes, yeah. With special needs children, as parents, we think we figured it out. We try and then it doesn't work. And after a while, we give up. So never giving up is the spirit that Janet had. Okay. And that was what made me continue. I'm continuing her work today because of her parting words, but I continued her journey because she moved on. When she wanted to have art, and I finally found a solution for art, I thought I found it. And then she said, no, I want a place where people can see my things, everything that I do with art. And that's how the gallery was formed. When she couldn't read, she kept asking me, like, oh no, when can she graduate? The minute she could start reading and writing, she said, when's that graduation day? And it's like, oh my God, you start reading and writing at 16 and you're asking me when to graduate. And so I had to start thinking. But it was her rolling forward that kept pushing me. That's the reason why I said, oh, we don't take the credit. It's not me. I would have given up. And I have all reasons to give up without feeling guilty, because she was diagnosed with untreatable epilepsy. She was also having the extremely low score in intelligence. So she was close to being, at that time, they reworded it to intellectual disability, but later I realized that it was actually mental retardedness. But it was this asking, her continuous asking, her demonstration that caused me not to give up. And I think many of us should carry on that dream. Live the dream, but work towards the dream, and not just stay there dreaming or just give up the dream completely. I think that's the powerful message, which I really thank Jack for sharing with us.
I think we have some questions. If anyone has questions, please do ask them as well. Yeah.
I would like to say something. I'm Kathleen. I'm with Hidden Truths also. I'm on the board and do other things with them. First of all, I am so moved by this. So I just want to thank you for making it. So if there's one thing that it also, I think, accomplishes is that we're not alone. So I'm the parent of a child with epilepsy. So on that part, and also something that you said, Joyce, in the beginning, as a parent, my daughter is on her journey and I'm also on a journey. So it's not like we're separate, and it's not like it's just her journey. It's our journey together and separately in a way, because I have learned so much about myself as a person, as a woman, and as a mother. And I wouldn't change our life for anything. So our circumstances are just a little bit different, but like I said, my daughter Caitlin has epilepsy, but I was in tears. I'm so moved by what you've done. So, and it just, I do find it, because Caitlin is the same thing. She's very determined when she wants to do something, and she's had so many obstacles from society to tell her that she's less than, and she has just forged her way. And she's like, even the job that she has now, she works at the Art Institute of Chicago. She was relentless. She would not let them, they kept putting her off and kept putting her off, but she now works there and she's very successful doing what she's doing. So I just want to thank you. I'm so moved and very touched. So
thank you, Kathleen. I think you just touched the word. Our kids change us. They shape us. They make us more knowledgeable, because there will be so many more things that we would not have bothered to learn because we don't have that issue. And because they exist, they teach us certain things that we would never have bothered to learn. And we realize we have certain skills that we didn't know we had.
Exactly.
So we have actually them to thank for. And thank you, Kathleen, for sharing with us about the joint journey that both of you are moving, and make Kate succeed in her life doing what she loves. I'm very sure she will, with a supporting mother like you.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's so amazing to hear that. And if there's any other questions from any one of the audiences, we'd love to take more questions. Feel free to also just share your experience. What did you think of the film? What's going on in your head at the moment after watching it? So we'd love to hear from you as well.
I have a question, which was, did you say you screened this at Epilepsy Malaysia? I'm curious about the other screenings.
No, we screened it to the media when it was completed, but we didn't screen it with the Epilepsy Malaysia yet. Yeah, we have told them about this. We have had the president of Epilepsy Malaysia with us. She's trying to plan something, but we haven't heard from them yet. And she's aware of today's online screening as well. The whole of the Epilepsy Malaysia group is aware about this.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Joyce, your family's story. It was beautiful. I am wondering, Sanat, you said you work with children, and I'm wondering if you've ever done video projects with the children where they tell their stories themselves.
That's actually very interesting. So one of the things that I do is I started this organization called Ascendance nearly about 10 years ago. And this was an organization that was primarily based in Malaysia, but now we work all across the world as well, with kids in North America, with kids in Indonesia, with kids in Vietnam, and so on as well. And one of the things that they do, and another company that I'm actually a part of is this company called ET Boost, which is a PR and production company based in Malaysia as well. And we host these short workshops for kids where they can come and learn the basics of filmmaking and storytelling. And I think in today's world where, video has become sort of the number one way to express yourself online, it's good for people to learn good media literacy, for them to learn that, hey, your stories have a lot of power and you should share that. And you should go and do these short videos and do these short movies about yourself. Go and interview people in different parts of the community and so on. So I host these workshops for students, and anyone can join these as well. And I think from there, we've had a lot of students who normally would have been these really shy kids who have not, kind of broken out of their shell. But they've come up and they've become so much more confident. They're starting new projects as well. I think that's the power of storytelling, and that's the power of allowing yourself to do it. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine saying that you should just make films for fun. Like, you should not have anything tied into it. You should not have big budgets and things like that. But if you can just go out there and make a video, make a film about yourself, go out there and do something with your friends. And the earlier you do that and the more you do that, like, that's what's going to teach you so much about life and the community and so on. So it's something that I always advocate and I always encourage. And yeah, thank you so much for asking me that question as well.
I do have one further question for Joyce, which is that was Janet part of an epilepsy community herself once she was an adult, with other adults with epilepsy?
Yeah, I'll give you a very honest answer. When she was at an age that I really wanted to find friendship. So in the video, you found that there was this girl called Carissa who was with her. Prior to that, I was trying to seek friendship for her. And Epilepsy Society was the first one that I had wanted to reach out to. The sad thing about the group here, I don't know whether it's the same in the other parts of the world, is those who are able, majority of those who are able, they would prefer not to tell people that they are epileptics, for fear that they would lose the friendship, they would lose the job. And those who are very severe, they will try to hide themselves away, or the parents would try to keep them away from public. And sadly, in the epilepsy group that we have, the ones who participate in the group are those who have got unsolved problems. So it was not giving us the positive vibe that we wanted to build in Janet. And that's why we had to continue searching for friendship. But the good thing is, we found that friendship in an organization called Best Buddies the Best Buddies, which I believe is also in US because it originated from US. So in Best Buddies, they provide a pairing of a neurotypical or normal youth with one who has challenges. And Janet was fortunate to have Carissa as her friend. And that is the kind of friendship we want. Someone who will just do normal things with someone who's not so typically normal and be able to bear with it. But of course, for the relationship to work, we as the parents have to also support the other girl, because she's not a specialist, she's not a therapist. She wouldn't know what to do. So that's why parent guidance and parent support from behind should be there. But I think much as we would love to have epilepsy group doing more for us, there is a hindrance, not by the society, they want to do more, but it's us, the community, that is making it very, very challenging for them.
Yes.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. And I'll just make one comment, which is the blessing of the modern world in the post-COVID era of online Zoom groups. And, you know, I have epilepsy, and I'm a member of several support groups and various art and creativity groups that are international. Some people from Canada, people from the United States, people from England. And it is, it's wonderful to, I mean, it's huge to have that community for us.
Joyce, I think both of you have hit on some really important points about epilepsy, and having done this for a while and talked to individuals that research this, I think one of the problems, like you said, Joyce, epilepsy is a label. And despite, there's a quote that says, we've lived through 4,000 years of stigma and mystery surrounding epilepsy, and despite all scientific advancements, we still live in a time of mystery, lack of knowledge about epilepsy. And as soon as you tell them, I have a son with epilepsy, he never revealed it until he was in his 20s. He had his close friend that he shared it with, because if he had a seizure, we would be called. But it becomes a label, and people are afraid because we haven't educated them properly. And I think that's the role of art, and that's the role of doing public exhibitions, talking about it, showing people that epilepsy is much more than a label. And there's also another point I want to make as a parent, and I learned this quickly as a neurologist and a parent of a now adult son with epilepsy. Parents can be the cause of stigma sometimes. I'm not saying you were by any means, but we become overprotective because we're afraid. What if they go into public and they have a seizure and they get ridiculed or laughed at? So then it becomes this perpetual cycle of hiding, isolation, loneliness, because we become overprotective. So unfortunately, we were very free and open with our son, and we let him do things that maybe we shouldn't. And he went through, until he was probably 9 or 10, we went through similar, 7 years of unknowns and uncertainty, and not being super overprotective, but as a parent, living in constant fear and anxiety. And I would shut the door by myself and cry and fall apart. And then I had to be strong for him. And it took me a while, and I can proudly say now that he's getting a PhD. So we overcame a lot of challenges, and it's the parents. It's that foundation you provide for your child that will help them spread their wings, you might say, because you have to believe in them and you have to let them pursue what they want to do. And so kudos to all of you, because it takes strong parents to let that child rise above sometimes.
You hit it on the nail, Dr. Julie. That was me. You just shared who I was, back when I first heard about epilepsy. And sometimes even today, I would sit back and I would say, some of the inabilities that Janet has, was it really because she was born with it? It was the result of epilepsy? Or was it overprotection from the parent? It's like, I wouldn't let her play games because I was afraid she was going to fall and hurt herself. I wouldn't even allow her to hold a pair of scissors and do cutting because I'm afraid again that she might have an attack. I lived in fear every day, and there were a lot of do's and don'ts. I dare not even let her go out with anybody if I wasn't able to follow her, because I have that fear that people won't know how to handle her. And so her social skills limitation, her gross and fine motor development. Sometimes I just wonder, like, if I had been just a more daring parent, would she have been better? There's no answer to it, but overprotection through love sometimes can hinder a lot of development. And I definitely can vouch that, because the minute I let her free to do the art that she wanted, she flew. She flew into her own world and she could tell her own stories. So yes, I think that's a problem. And that's also the problem where I'm sad to see that despite epilepsy covering about 65 million people around the world, it's so little spoken about compared to other things. We have people talking about autism. You just talk about autism and people are so well prepared to know how to handle our autism kid from several different levels of severity. You even now talk about rare disease and people have some idea about what that means. But I'm so sad that when there is an exhibition or an event and I put epilepsy brochures on the table, that not even one leaflet gets taken up. It's almost like, what's this? We don't need to know about this. And I know you were trying very hard through art. I'm trying very hard through sharing of Janet's journey. And let's just hope that one day people will be more willing to learn about epilepsy and open up more opportunities to the epileptics, because just like autism, there are different levels of severity. And there are some which is up to the level that they can work. We have doctors, we have actors, we have many professionals who are epileptic. It's just that the stigma stays with them and they'd rather not talk about it unless they are really requested to reveal it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a question from another question as well. So yeah, go ahead, Miss Corina.
I think Dr. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to applaud you, Joyce. I think this is really amazing that you created this this so-called, I wanted to say a movie, a documentary together, and it is amazing because it's so empowering to see the journey of Janet and what she has gone through. And I just felt that art is a form of healing for her, because it's so hard for her to express herself through words, and also the labels that has been put on her, that she's disability in learning and she's slow to learning. And I think even though she may not express herself well, she understood it. She understood what the world saw her as. And with all the pinches and bullying that she felt, I think she really felt that she was so worthless and everything. And this film is so powerful because it shows how important the support of a parent should be, giving to their child and seeing what they can have in terms of their creativity is so important. And because of your belief and her form of healing through art, she believed in herself again. She believed and she removed that label that was given to her that she was, as a kid. And and she was able to graduate when people say that she just can't even be a perfect or normal person, and she graduated. She saw that I am of value, I can do it, why not? I am normal in my own way. If my tete or my sister can do it, I think I can. I'm normal. And I hope that this film will give hope to people, or especially parents, to not allow what the labels has been given to their children, and to help them see that, hey, let me help my child, let me see my child. I wish my parent had that in them, because I have epilepsy, and it's so difficult because I can't learn properly, and I just I academics is not my direction, it's not my way, and I feel more stressed, and I just refuse to even accept myself as having epilepsy as growing up. I feel that I am normal. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? So I was pretty rebellious. And I wasn't really allowed also to do things, but I don't care. I secretly just go out. I was very, very rebellious, and I just couldn't find myself, even as an adult, right now. And right now, I just felt that I could relate to Janet's story, because that is how I feel. And I feel that maybe art was a way for me to express myself, but I wasn't allowed to, because in our era, it's like art is the last thing that you can have, because you cannot earn money. There's no future in art. But I think Joyce have seen me posting about things that I'm doing through my art, even though I'm not perfect at it, but I'm expressing myself through art. And just yeah, I'm just doing it in that form. And I just hope that people watching this documentary will realize that not to label people because of different aspect that's not normal to you, not normal to society, but see beyond the person, see beyond what else the person has that they can offer. So I really applaud to you, Joyce and Sanad, for making this documentary that will reach out to the world. And I hope that that people of different abilities, whether epilepsy or autistic or whatever, to just see beyond the person and see that even though they cannot articulate, just observe them and see what is their specialty, and bring out that gift in them and let them speak for themselves, and allow the person to realize that I am special and I can express myself, and I have my own wisdom, I have my own knowledge. You don't see it, you see academics as the success, but I am successful in my own way. And I hope that people could see that, that there is a little spark in them, and you have to just learn to draw it out and let them see that they are special, and they can contribute to society in a different way. Yeah, so that's my sharing, and thank you.
Thank you, Karina, so much. And actually, this credit I have to pass back to Dr. Julie, because you see, Janet would not have changed her perception of how she was. When she had her first art pieces done and they were sold, they were actually sold, but it was to friends and relatives. So to her, she knew there's nothing great. Okay. You all know me, or you know my dad, you know my mom. It was the platform that Dr. Julie started, the Hidden Truths Project, which is an art exhibition specifically for people who have epilepsy. They could have other forms of problems as well, but epilepsy being one key one that they should have, that changed her. Her smile was different the minute she stepped into Dex Gallery. She was feeling so amazed that she had so many foreigners who didn't know her, giving her that warmth, welcoming her, asking her and talking to her, that when we came back and she had another exhibition, Dr. Julie, and we compared the photos of Smile, there was no smile like the US smile. And we are saying she is so much happier during the US exhibition, maybe because she said, these are people whom I don't know. They don't speak my language as a first language. They speak English, but they're also interested in my art. And of course, with Joanna buying her first piece before it was even open for public sale, changed her perception. So Dr. Julie, please keep up this great work and continue to spread the word of epilepsy through Hidden Truths Project.
Well, thank you, Joyce. And Joyce, we and Heidi takes credit here too. It's not just me. Heidi and I, just for those of you that don't know, had this novel. I presented it to Heidi 14 years ago in San Francisco at a conference. And she was graciously, I should say, came on board. And it's been transformative. I think, Heidi, you can attest to this as well for me. And the only reason we keep this going is because of people like you and Janet and the many artists we work with. They feed us. I mean, they are just, they open our eyes. They're transformative in our belief systems, how I approach humanity. And we wouldn't do this if we didn't have people like you and Janet helping us in this journey. So you deserve credit as well. And someone once told me that if you can change one life, you've done your job. And I always want to give up, because people will say, like, well, when you're trying to apply for a grant or money, how many people do you serve? Well, it's like, well, there's 65 million people worldwide. There's 3.5 million people in the United States. And we get 100 at each exhibit. And I'm like, I don't know, how many lives do we change? And then it gets frustrating because I don't have those numbers. But all I can say is someone just reassured me, you change one life, you've done your job. So your story is just a beautiful moment in my life, believe me.
Well, you changed one life, Dr. Julie. It's definitely made a big impact. That wouldn't be a film if you didn't change this life.
Well, thank you.
It's actually 2 lives, one Janet and one our family.
Okay. Heidi, do you have any words you'd like to share?
I had a question for Joyce, actually. In Janet's journey, did her art change in terms of content? I mean, could you see a difference in how she was trying to communicate through her art? I mean, when it was all vibrant colors, but was it birds or squares and that kind of thing? How did it change as she grew?
Yes, it revealed something very important. When Janet was a kid, she used to just like drawing lines and crosses. That was her from a very young age. And to her, even when I buy her the coloring books where they show you the color and the kid is just supposed to replicate the color, she would have a yellow banana shown to her and she has it purple. And then you would say, no, bananas don't come purple. Okay, bananas have to be either brown when they are too overripe, or they are yellow, or they are green. Okay, so no purple. And she would tell me, but that's my banana. And that's actually what happened, or that was what held her back in developing art at an earlier stage. Because when teachers would say, the sky is blue, she probably did something else. Okay, so she never followed instructions. And when we started getting someone to tutor her, Philip in the film wasn't really her first art teacher. Okay, her first formal art teacher was back in 2010, and this was an academics art teacher. She actually guided students who were in their last 2 years of studies, taking art as a major subject. So the only difference I had when I enrolled Janet with her was everything that the previous teachers had said Janet can't do. I said, Janet, don't do these. So please don't repeat this because you'll end up with the same frustration. So just try and do whatever else that you think you can working with her, and let's see what we can have come out of it. What I just request you is don't let me bring back art paper, because the art paper in the family that's not artistic, it doesn't mean anything. We didn't even realize that a nice piece of art paper can be framed up as a painting. Okay, to us it's not saleable. So my instruction to her was, don't give me art paper, because this is the problem. I can't throw it away because it's her property, she owns it, and she'll be sad. But I can't keep piling it up because other people will see it as a garbage collection as time goes by. So just make it, even if it's worth just 50 cents, think of something, and that's your mission. So we started the journey. And that was actually the first piece of artwork that we brought in after 4 years of working with her to US. And Dr. Julie have seen her first works. But after 6 years of working with this art teacher, and the theory that when someone makes me good, I'm proud and I'll do even better, didn't exist in Janet. When she went back home, she would still do back her lines and crosses and whatever squares that she wanted, which then made me look at the 2 artworks, and it's really 2 entirely different artworks. Even Dr. Julie, I think you can vouch now that the artworks you saw in the earlier years versus the artwork that you see in my background now, they're like, hey, it's a different form of art. Okay, so it got me into the question of saying, even when I look at it, it seems like this piece of artwork is done by 2 different artists, not one single artist. And that's where a fear came to me. I couldn't have her continue doing something that was different from what she was always producing and where the public had been seeing her. I spoke to her art teacher, and her art teacher said, Janet needs discipline. She did every piece of artwork on her own, but that's because I'm there and I will say, no, your line is not straight. Can you straighten it? So it's very much like us going to school. We try to do the best homework neat as possible so that we don't have to get into detention class and we don't have to repeat. So that was Janet. But when she went back home, she said, I'm free. And she goes back to herself. So when I looked at it and these worries coupled on, I said, I've got into a trouble because the minute the teacher stops teaching her, she's going to go back to her own way. And people would just kind of question what happened or who is this artist or who did the earlier paintings. So that's when I started asking. And that's when Philip, her art mentor, came in. And that's where he made the statement that I'm an artist, so I enjoy art when I think it's art. And I don't enjoy it when I don't even make sense out of it. So I said, okay, so your mission is just to tell me, is she an artist? Because if she's not, I have to restart everything again. So yes, she did change her style. In the recent submissions that you have seen, I've tried to rebuild that image that she's a colorist. So even Dr. Julie said, hey, I haven't seen this before. Oh, this new to me. Actually, some of them weren't. It's just that I said, this is not what Dr. Julie used to see, so I shall send what she used to see. but since 2019, I said, if this is her, accept it that this is her, and let's just take some time for the public to see this is the real her. And as years have gone by, I now mix the two because now people know that is one artist with two different works. One where she knows no fooling around, and another one where she is, I'm free to express myself. Thanks for your question.
You. That's nice.
I think you made a really good point, Joyce, because you look at art in people that develop dementia. And these are professional artists that were very detailed oriented with their artwork. And then as they develop cognitive problems and dementia as they age, their artwork totally changes. And part of the theory being is that you remove the filters. You let them express what they were deeply feeling instead of making art for the public. It's like what's inside of them comes out finally because it's not like I'm trying to impress someone. I'm just telling my story through art, whether they like it or not. I like it. This is me. This is my story. And I think that's important. I think Janet probably displayed that. Maybe she was getting filters put on, and once she had the freedom of expression, she's just going to go crazy with it because it was her story inside, So I think that's really important. And I love the evolution of the art. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think that first 1 year when she was with Philip, it was probably to test his patience. That's what I was saying. It's like her art is terrible, even worse than what she used to do at home. So she was going to say like, okay, I've been through many art teachers and I've got critics. So let me now show you what mess I can make. And he bore with it. So she showed him who she really is with paintings like what we see behind.
It's nice to hear you talk about her personality and testing her boundaries. It's very nice. Are there any other questions? I know we promised we would be 90 minutes and we're happy to stay here and talk. If anyone has any other questions.
I have actually a special request. I know that Akma is here and she came in a little bit late because we do have heavy traffic during the morning session. So I think if you want to dismiss, and Akma, if you have actually any questions that you particularly want to go a little bit more in depth, please do stay on if that's convenient to you so that you could ask all the questions that you want for the article that you will be doing. So that's just my add-on. Back.
Yeah, do we have any other final questions before we Infinity.
Well, if there's no more questions, we will give you back your day. Enjoy your day if you're in Malaysia and work. Hopefully it's enjoyable. For those of you going off to dinner, enjoy your dinner and have a beautiful day tomorrow. And if you want to stay on and continue talking, we're here. So thank you for being here, and my special thanks also to Lundbeck for sponsoring our online forums.